Welcome to the 79th edition of Make Pro Wrestling Majestic again. I am your new Majestic Champion of the world, Tiger Height.
And I'm your former champion now, Peanut Gallery.
It took a minute, but we finally got the title off of you.
Yep.
Finally. So, we are going to be talking about
a lot of NWA stuff.
Yep, a lot of NWA stuff. Not only because of the pay-per-view, but a lot of backstage developments that have been sort of leaked out by Aldis.
Yes.
So
let's talk about that. Nick Aldis.
Go ahead.
Well, he's having some beef right now with Billy Corgan, and it is regarding in his mind, because he's a producer, the quality of wrestling that NWA puts out. And he feels like it's not going the direction that he wants it to go. Mm-hmm. As a result of his comments, Billy Corgan suspended him, and he didn't appear last night, and he's not appearing on any of these shows. But during the show itself, another new development came out where Nick Aldis made an Instagram post stating that the product essentially is trash.
Yes.
He does not like the product, and Billy Corgan does not like him saying that he does not like the product. But let's talk about the NWA product as we have gone through this journey with Billy Corgan. So I can't blame him for all of it. Obviously, the pandemic probably hurt him the most out of any wrestling company because of their inaccessibility.
Right.
They couldn't use the studios that they were in.
It took the NWA a longer period of time.
It did, to open back up. So,
still dealing with the cold.
Yeah. So with that being said, he's trying to get back on his feet, and he probably doesn't have the budget to afford the talent that maybe would be more beholden to a higher quality wrestling promotion. And he's also had to contend with all the wrestlers that he released going to different companies.
Yes.
And he also has to deal with the fact that the wrestling landscape has changed somewhat in those 2 years.
A great amount,
yes.
Actually.
So, obviously, he gets the short end of the stick because he's the one with the lowest budget.
Right. He is the super indie.
Right. And that essentially is what NWA is and has become more of. They've become more reliant on those indie stars. And so they essentially had to start from square one.
Yep.
As far as Nick Aldis goes, I don't know how much power he has in terms of the financial standpoint, but he needs to put that into consideration.
God. So, the thing is that Billy Corgan and Aldis have been going back and forth regarding what's going on with the situation, and Aldis claims that Corgan and Murdoch, they were saying that there was going to be no other Empower, but Billy Corgan clapped back saying, I didn't make money on it, and at the end of the day, the NWA is a business.
Right.
He has to have it to sustain. I'm sorry, if Empower did not make money, what would be the point of running another Empower?
Right.
And this is coming from a guy who really liked the show. I thought it was one of their better shows of the last 3 years.
Right.
But if it didn't make him money, why would you want to do it again?
Right.
It does not make sense to me.
And Nick Aldis is the one who is paid the most. He has the most lucrative contract.
Now, that one I don't think can even be argued because it's almost obvious because Aldis has been the face of the NWA for years and years.
Right. So maybe it's just a matter of visions clashing, or it could be money. I think it's a mix of both.
I think so too.
I don't know. I don't even know if Billy envisioned the company being the way that it is today.
Well, you have
when he bought the company back in 2018 or 2017.
And there are other issues that the NWA has. that I don't believe are anything that they can't change.
Right.
One of them is the overbooking of their pay-per-views. 16 matches over a night is super unnecessary. We've already talked about that in somewhat of length. I'll talk about it more because that was actually something that Aldis did bring up, was throwing everybody in the show.
Right.
It's not necessary.
Right. I mean, you're not filming a taping, you're filming a live show.
Right.
And so I hope that becomes something where that change is made. Possibly building up some better talent. That's something that can be done. Another interesting thing that I thought about is he also talked a lot about British wrestling and how far it's come. Nick Aldis was actually at Clash at the Castle.
Right.
And he and Drew McIntyre are very good friends because they're both pioneers within British wrestling.
Right.
In terms of bringing it mainstream. If he does leave, and I think he will, his contract is up at the end of the year.
Yeah, he's
not
gone.
re-signing.
No.
He's gone.
Not after these comments. There's no way.
But he is probably heading to the WWE.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think he would do well in AEW because, number one, their roster is just as bloated as NWA.
Right.
But I think Aldis' style would just mesh better with the WWE style than the AEW style.
Right.
And will Aldis do well in WWE? There's a chance.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that he will.
But he has name recognition, star power, and production experience.
Right. And as it relates to the situation between Aldis and Billy Corgan, what are your thoughts regarding? Do you have like a side? Do you see both perspectives on, what we're going to do?
At this point, I'm not taking a side. There's not enough information for me to take a side.
I think it's hard for me to take a side because I get it that Aldis is frustrated.
Yeah.
That's fine. But at the other end of the stick, him making it public was not necessary.
No.
And I think it's actually going to hurt himself more than the NWA at this point, because this tells other people who might want to hire Aldis that he will go public if he does not essentially get his way.
Right.
And that's what Corgan said, is that Aldis was not getting his way. He wanted to be the champion.
Yeah.
That was not in my plans at this time, which I think is fine.
Right.
And I just don't think that was the right way to go about it.
No.
Aldis had a lot of push and pull as it relates to the NWA, and I probably would have kept it in the back more than he did, because he did not make the NWA look foolish. That's the thing.
He made himself look foolish.
He made himself look like a whiner, a crybaby, and it's like who WWE? If you think WWE is going to tolerate that for a second,
they're not.
They're crazy, and you don't think they're going to watch what's happening right now and think to themselves, possibly even reconsidering bringing him in, at least for right now, then you're crazy.
Right.
They're a lot smarter than that.
Right.
So it's a really double-edged sword when it comes to the Billy Corgan and Nick Aldis situation, and you're right. It's still fairly young.
Yeah. But anyways, that's all I've got. If you don't have anything else to add, when we come back from break, what are we going to be talking about?
So, because this is a controversy that's surrounding the NWA, I want to revisit other controversies that surround the NWA. So we will be right back.